earlier because Sarah gave me one hell of a suggestion. She kept harping on it because I now have a part-time job, which I work nights. And she told me, you know, when you come in, why don't you just when you get home, I should say, why don't you just start your show an hour early, because you're going to have the energy to do it, and you can just knock out your show there. I'll be getting Austin ready for school, and you can just do it that way. I said, you know what, that's a hell of a suggestion. So we're getting the studio reset up here, and we're now on at 8 a.m. each and every morning. We'll have express editions today, tomorrow, and Friday, and we'll be back to a full show beginning next Monday. Lots to get to in a short amount of time, but the biggest thing I want to touch will be the national championship and the exclusion of the University of Central Florida from the playoff. I got a good buddy of mine, Dante Pryor, who thinks it's silly. I have a response to that today before I welcome Chris Dietz. And well, actually, you'll hear my response to that tomorrow, because it's going to be mixed in with a lot more college football talk. But let me start with this. I had something said to me that pissed me off. And you know what that was? Anybody that listens to this show knows I follow 3 teams in the NBA. As far as the NBA goes, I follow 3 teams: the Chicago Bulls, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Golden State Warriors. Been a Bulls fan since '84. Been a Spurs fan, hell, I don't know, probably since '90. Probably since 1990, even when they were going through their lean years. I've always had a liking for the Spurs. One of my favorite players of all time, George Gervin, the Iceman, played on both the Bulls and the Spurs. The Golden State Warriors, I took a liking to them first in the 80s and 90s when they had Run TMC, Tim Hardaway, Mitch Richmond, and Chris Mullin. Then I really took a liking to them. It wasn't even 2007. I want to say it was 2005. It's just something that drew me to them. And I follow all 3 of those teams religiously. And I have been. I posted a comment after Stephen Curry hit a game winner against Dallas. Brian Greenlaw, one of my good buddies, said Steph's overrated, which he isn't. He said, you need to be talking about the young kids. Yeah, when they show me something. That's a playful shot to my friend Brian. But this is directed at a person who I once upon a time called a friend. Keep your nose out of my goddamn business. Forgive me. The comment that was written back to me was, I guess he doesn't like Chicago anymore. He has to join the bandwagon. Bitch, I'm not a bandwagoner. I like teams that I like. You like teams that you like. It ain't my fault that one of your teams can't do a frickin' thing, especially when it comes to football. It ain't my fault that y'all had a team put together and only have won 1 championship in terms of basketball. It ain't my fault that your team in baseball won 102 games and then choked a 2-0 lead. Now, I know my Golden State Warriors choked a 3-1 lead in the 2016 NBA Finals. I went off on that. If you had listened to the show and paid freaking attention, you'll know that I broke that thing down. I talk about all teams fairly, period. You can call me a bandwagoner all you want. I like the teams that I like, just like you like the teams that you like. It ain't my fault that my teams have done better. Period. But how dare you? How dare you call me a bandwagoner because I said something about one of my favorite players in the NBA today in Stephen Curry. I know there's a lot of people that are sick of me talking about Stephen Curry. I know there's a lot of people that say I never talk bad about the Warriors, which is bullshit. I break down the Warriors just as I break down every other team. From their strengths to their weaknesses. 'Tis how I am, 'tis how I've always been. Period. Tis how I've always been. And if you don't like it, oh thee well. Maybe you should pay attention to my show more often, to the person who posted that comment. And you'll know how I am as a sports journalist and as a sports fan. Yeah, I got the teams I have the teams I'm fans of, but I'm also real. Especially when they mess up. It ain't my fault you're looking through rose-colored glasses at your team, especially when they screw up. I get this all the time from people. Oh, I like my team. It's not my... You're a bandwagoner. Kiss my ass. You want to know what a bandwagoner is? It's a fan of a player that can't make up his mind where the hell he wants to play. You know what a bandwagoner is? It's a person that can't make up their mind of which team they love or follow. How about them apples? That's a bandwagoner. You like a team because they're good. You like a team because they're the hottest team going right now, even when they fall flat on their ass. You want to know the definition of a bandwagoner? It ain't a snowman. I've said all along the teams that I've liked, that I follow, that I keep up on, that I pay attention to. Hell, when the Warriors lost to the Nuggets 96-81 on December 23rd, there were two things I noted. Number one, the Warriors turned the ball over 21 times. And number two, they allowed 30 points off those turnovers. They deserved to lose. And I said that aloud. So how dare you? How fucking dare you say that I'm a bandwagoner? I've always been a fan of a few teams, okay? I've always followed a few teams. And I will say it again, the teams that I follow as far as the NBA goes, the Bulls, the Spurs, and the Warriors. Why? Since we've now gone to a little bit of a softer era of the NBA, those three teams play like teams. There's no hero ball. Hello, LeBron James. There's no ISO ball. Hello, LeBron James, Russell Westbrook. Huh? The teams that I like play like teams. Period. So how dare you call me a bandwagoner when you have no fucking clue who I am as a sports fan and who I am as a sports journalist? You want to know the real definition of a bandwagoner? And there is a gentleman, and I use this term very loosely, that fits this position, that fits this definition, because he and yourself and a few other people I know hang on to somebody that you can't be. Period. Why don't you go look up the frickin' definition of a bandwagoner before you decide to start spreading that term and using it? Because it clearly describes you and a few other people I know. And if that gets people to stop listening to me because I tell the truth about who I am, who I follow, and the teams that I break down, then so be it. I don't care. This is who I am. This is who I've always been. And if you don't like it, you can stop paying attention to what I post. Period. And I wash my hands of this subject for the final time. Chris Dietz after this.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby.
Goo goo gaga.
Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you going to do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We could share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Driving means
freedom,
exploration,
fun,
pride,
flexibility,
travel,
protection,
friendship,
escape,
independence.
Distracted driving means
danger,
recklessness,
irresponsible,
Chaos,
police,
devastation,
injury,
tears,
death.
Safe driving means staying alert and staying alive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Has your fantasy season ever come to a complete halt due to your top picks going down? Now there is a solution for that. RotoSurance is your go-to fantasy sports insurance provider. Get 100% of your money back if your top players go down. Head over to www.rotosurance.com and use the promo code 3andOutRadio to get 20% off your plan today. Again, www.rotosurance.com. Promo code 3andOutRadio.
Hey folks, it may be winter, but you should never stop trying to get and be in the best shape of your life. To do that, reach for the supplements that will help you along the way. Cleaver Supplements. From our Super Fat Burner, the Swole Serum for your workouts, and much more. Cleaver Supplements is the secret weapon to getting you in shape for a great 2018. So let's get you started today on the fastest track to a healthier you. Log on to cleaversupplements.com or call 580-478-5517. Mention Arena Sportsnet and you'll get 10% off your first order. Cleaver Supplements. Pure supplements for when genetics are not enough.
This is Snowman in the Morning, where true sports talk lives.
Bazinga! Did you not get the memo?
Oh boy, Express edition of Snowman in the Morning continues on this Wednesday. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. Chris Dietz will come on in about 45 seconds from now. And we're presented by Cleaver Supplements, pure supplements for when genetics are just not enough. And I want to thank the folks for tuning in. Made some changes. We're on an hour earlier because, as I mentioned, my situation has changed. Where doing something at night, and I want to be sure that I get all the energy that I need. There was a hell of a national championship game that was played this past Monday, and my guest and I are going to break it down right now using every angle that we can. Chris Dietz from the Fifth Down Football Chat has now joined me. Good morning and Happy New Year, sir. Well, I thought I could hear him. Well, maybe not. We'll try to get him back on here in just a moment. But did anybody see that national championship game with Alabama and Georgia? That was a heck of a game. And I think I have my guest right now. Chris Dietz from the Fifth Down Football Show has joined me. Good morning and Happy New Year.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm tired, but I'll make it.
So we all are now.
Dude, that game in Atlanta on Monday night.
I'm still trying to grasp whether that game Monday was better than last year's. I'm still waffling. I haven't made up my decision yet. I want to say it was. I was into it the whole time.
You know what? that's one of those kind of games, no matter who wins, you're into it from start to finish, like you said.
And I think I've talked to a few people who have said, "Oh, I was bored in the first half when it was basically all defense," and I was like, "Hello, well, welcome to the SEC. This is what football looks like.
Yeah,
it's not 50-point games. You're gonna get 13-0 at halftime. That's how it works."
That's exactly how it works. Before we continue to dive into this championship game, Chris Dietz joining me on the line. I have a response to someone who called my idea of letting UCF into the college football playoff utterly ridiculous. My response is the following. UCF is the only undefeated Division I team this year, which includes a victory over an SEC power in Auburn. You're going to tell me they would not have given either Alabama or Georgia one hell of a game in Atlanta?
Well, they are claiming to be national champions, so they did have a parade with Mickey and Minnie, so hey, more power to them. I love what they did.
I love what they did too, because they beat everybody on their schedule. What's wrong with this picture?
Exactly, and if that team can't get in, then no group of 5 team is ever going to get in.
It's not fair. It's absolutely not fair that a team can beat everybody on their schedule. Remember, we had this 2 years ago with Western Michigan. We had this conversation with Northern Illinois as far as the BCS goes. Why are these Big 5 schools trying to freeze out teams like UCF, like Northern Illinois, like Boise State? Hello. Why are they freezing them out?
There's the simple answer, and then there's the answer that everybody's going to give. But the simple answer is money.
Agreed.
And you won't hear that from all the college football analysts on the big networks, because that's how they get their money.
By not talking about the teams that are actually worth the competition, like a UCF.
Then And until the group of 5 says, you know what, we're doing our own thing, we're going to have our own championship, then they're just going to be a small sliver of what college football is.
And that's all it is, because first of all, my argument is that this playoff should be expanded.
I would agree with that.
It shouldn't have started with just 4 teams. It should have started with at least 8. Now, you can make all the noise you want about logistics and things like that, but if they can get teams to if the schools can get the teams to where they need to go each week, you know doggone well after the new year they can get teams to where they need to go when it concerns a playoff game and a payoff, a big one.
Well, the thing about college football the people that run college football at the NCAA, they either don't know math or they didn't learn numbers in kindergarten.
Agreed.
I mean, you have a 4-team playoff and you have a Power 5 conference. Last time I checked, 5 doesn't fit into 4.
No, it doesn't.
if you're going to have a Power 5, it would make sense to at least have 6 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Because that way every one of your power conferences has a chance.
Yep.
And then, wanted to keep it small, you could go 6, and you could go, we have all our Power 5, and then 1 extra.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could go to 8, and then you have ample room to maneuver it. It doesn't make any sense.
So what if we went to 8? Let's use this past year, or this past season, I beg your pardon, as an example. If we would have gone to 8, who's your 8 that gets in?
I'm trying to remember where they had UCF in the final, in the final ranking, to remember if they would have even been in that. I know Auburn was 7.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, here let's start with this. I would have taken all the conference champions.
Okay.
So I would have taken Georgia, Clemson, Oklahoma, USC would have gotten in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think of the other Power 5 that I'm missing. Oh, and Ohio State would have been in.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 5. There's your 5 right there. I would have taken UCF because they were an undefeated Group of 5 team. That would have been my qualification. So UCF would have been 6. Alabama would have been 7. And I would have taken. Then you've got to toss up. And I probably would have put Wisconsin in over Auburn.
Okay, so who would have been your 8 teams?
My 8 teams. I got Clemson, Georgia, Oklahoma, USC, Ohio State, Alabama, UCF, and Wisconsin.
So what bowls would we use with these 8?
That's the other thing about the math that doesn't work. You have 6. You have the New Year's 6 bowl games.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
New Year's 6 bowl games, but you have 4 teams in your playoff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, simple math here. That you have 6 games. You could go to 12 if you wanted to. I wouldn't have allowed the Cotton Bowl and the Peach Bowl into that. I would have just stayed with the main 4 that we had.
The rose, the sugar, the rose, the sugar, the orange,
and the Sugar Bowl.
Yep.
And then each year that's playoff. And then you have all those bowl games. Then you have a semifinal, and then you have a final.
Well, that's our argument about why UCF should have been in the playoff and why the playoff should be expanded. And this is an argument that's going to go on for a while. Chris Deeds joining me here on an abbreviated edition of Snowman in the Morning. Now the game itself at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. As much credit as I want to give Nick Saban and Alabama for coming back and winning, I blame Georgia for taking their foot off their throats.
I would say I don't want to say they took their foot off their throat. They had an interesting game plan from the start. I mean, I made the argument before the game even started that Sony Michel was the best player on the field.
Mm-hmm.
On either sideline, he's the best player.
Yeah.
He was only on the field for that one touchdown drive.
Yeah.
And they fed him the ball all the way down the field, and he was making plays. He was the only one that could make plays on that defense. And then it seemed like they going away from them. I mean, I said it watching the last drive. Your game is tied, 3 minutes to go, and you've got your third string running back in the block.
In the block, yeah.
Put your best player on the field. At least you put him on the field. The defense has to say, hey, they might run the ball, or they might throw a screen pass to him. They have to account for the best player on the field.
But why did they go away from him?
I think only Kirby Smart and the offensive coordinator from Georgia can answer that question. But I think they either A, to overthink it, or B, they were scared of the Alabama defense.
But they didn't play scared of the Alabama defense in the first half. That's the point. They were in full, unadulterated attack mode in the first half. Why did they not, and this is the argument I make, why did it seem like they took their foot off the throttle?
They started playing conservative, and then once they started playing conservative, the freshman quarterback was done. I mean, he did make some good throws when he had to, but you could tell he was not in rhythm, especially in the fourth quarter. He was so far out of rhythm because they were just handing the ball off all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just pounding 2 yards, punt.
And again, it just goes back to what I say and what I continue to say. Georgia took their foot off their throats. When you pound Alabama as much as they did in the first half, and open a 13-0 lead, which is the first time in the years that Nick Saban has been coached that he's trailed by 2 scores at halftime. Or one of the few times, I beg your pardon. Why did they not continue to run the football with Sony Michel and Nick Chubb?
I don't know why they didn't get. I said it. I don't know why they went away from Sony Michel. They tried to feed Nick Chubb and tried to wear him out, but that wasn't going to work on Alabama. You needed a guy who could, like Sony Michel, who could cut on a dime and get speed going. I still can't figure out why he didn't get the ball as much.
I picked Georgia to win this game, but I had a feeling Alabama was going to make it competitive. When I drove to work, the score I had was 13-0 Georgia, and I had been getting updates that whole night, and then I got the update that they had won by a field goal in overtime. Kudos to Alabama, man. They stayed the course. Their defense got stronger as the game got longer, but there were also
Alabama didn't win by. Well, they won by 3 points, but they didn't win by a field goal.
No, they won by a touchdown pass in overtime. And talk about the move that Nick Saban made to go away from Jalen Hurts and go to a true freshman quarterback.
Well, that's what I found most interesting is, and why I can't say Georgia lost the game. I have to say Alabama won the game.
Agreed.
Because Nick Saban made a decision that if it didn't work out, if that kid doesn't throw that touchdown pass, and he took a sack. He took a bad sack on the first play from overtime.
16 yards.
A very bad sack.
16 yards.
What's that?
A 16-yard loss.
Yeah. If they had never come back from that, the narrative of what Nick Saban did would be totally different than what we're looking at right now. because it worked out, Saban looks like a genius. The interesting part to me was the halftime interview with Nick Saban. And I was kind of mad at the time because at the time of the interview, I was like, he's such a liar. He just blatantly lied to the interviewer. He blatantly lied to him. He said, this is not about our quarterback. We got to do a lot more different things. Then they go into half. Then they come out, and the only change they made was the quarterback. Blatant lie. And all the analysts that like to suck up to Nick Saban. Oh, well, Nick Saban didn't have this plan. Didn't even call him out. Didn't even say. They said it wasn't the quarterback. Oh, wait. It must have been the quarterback.
Yes, indeed.
But no, that kid played. I mean, that kid stepped in, and first off, I don't know if you saw the post-game interview with him. That kid looks like he can't even drive. And he just won the national.
I saw that.
I'm watching the interview with him, and I'm like, this kid. I'm like, how is this kid even on the field? He looks like he looks 14, 15 years old.
Here's a question. How does Georgia let a receiver get behind them in that 2nd and 26?
That was a first guess on my part. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, how is this guy wide open? And then I'm looking at the coverage. It was either a blown coverage by the safety or the corner. And I have to go back to see what the corner was looking at. They were in too deep coverage. So the corner had the flat. I didn't see anybody in the flat, so he should have been dropping. And there's no reason why the safety's in the middle of the field. He should have been like, oh, there's only one guy on this side he could throw to. But you could blame Georgia, but also the freshman kid I call him the freshman kid because I can't pronounce his last name. It's Tua something. It's too long, but he looks.
I think it's Togolavia. I think that's how you pronounce his last name.
I'm just going to keep calling him the freshman kid until next year when he's a sophomore, and then maybe he'll still be the freshman kid. But either way. But he looks the safety, keeps the safety in the middle of the field, and knows he's got the strike on the outside. How the safety doesn't realize that there's somebody on the other side? It was just a brain fart, but and it's not like Sanders is the guy from Georgia.
Yeah,
the safety that got beat. He's going to be a top 50 NFL draft.
And he got beat bad. He got beat bad.
He got played. He was reading the quarterback, trying to make the big play, and he let the guy go right by him.
He got beat bad. Tua Tagovailoa is the freshman's name.
I'll just say yes.
I'm looking at the pronunciation. Tagovailoa is the freshman's name. I bet you Georgia couldn't pronounce his name the entire second half.
They know his name now.
They know his name now. And here's one of my final questions. Where does this leave Jalen Hurts?
That's a great question. But Jalen Hurts is an amazing person. I mean, if you saw his interview after, and if you saw the entire second half, where every offensive huddle, he's right next to the quarterback. He's right next to the kid.
Right.
Telling him what, breaking down everything for him. So it's kind of that it's kind of that the Ohio State situation from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if Jalen Hurts, knowing what I saw from the outside of what I know about Jalen Hurts,
yeah,
I think he's going to stay at Alabama.
I think he should.
He's going to leave.
I think he should.
I think he should leave, but I don't think he will. I think he's got too much character to up and leave. And you're also talking about a guy who's 26-2 as the starting quarterback.
Oh, I didn't mean for that to happen. I'm sorry about that, folks. I'm saying no. I pressed the wrong button. I'm sorry. When you're live, you do stupid stuff. I apologize for that, folks. I'm saying Jalen Hurts should stay put.
Oh yeah, I think he should. I think he will. I think he's just got the character to do it.
And like you said, this is the Ohio State situation when they won. This is indeed the Ohio State situation.
I don't know what I think his mindset will be to stay, but I think it will hurt him long term. I think he needs to play.
Mm-hmm.
I think he needs to go somewhere to play, but I don't think he should go to another Division I school. I think he should go to an FCS school, play right away, and go into get into the draft process.
Yeah.
As soon as he can.
I agree with that. And if he does transfer, I can see that him going to an FCS school and getting the playing time that he deserves. I mean, he's proven himself at Alabama. All right, hands down. But as you said, he needs to play.
Another comparison to that would be Russell Wilson.
Yes.
When Russell was at NC State, he was the starting quarterback, had a good season. They brought in a kid who was supposed to be better than him, and he graduated early, went to Wisconsin. The rest is history.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know Jalen Hurts' class schedule. If he's on schedule to graduate, he should stay at Alabama one more year, graduate, and be a graduate transfer so that he can play right away. The problem with college football, for your fans that don't know it, is if he decides to transfer to another D1 school, he has to sit out a whole year.
He has to sit a year, yes.
That would hurt. That's why I say if he's going to transfer to play, go to an FCS school so he can play right away.
Yeah.
He can't take a year off. A year off would kill him.
A year off indeed would kill him, and I would love to see him get into the draft. Speaking of which, a couple final notes here before we get out of here. How about those Bison at North Dakota State?
Yeah, you were right about the Bison. That was a game that was kind of the opposite of the national of the Alabama Georgia game.
Yes.
You had all the scoring in the first half, and then the second half was kind of where they were just feeling each other out.
Right. But what can you say about the play of Easton Stick and the way he led that team last Saturday?
I love that. I love him. I love his name. I love everything about him. He's going to get a lot of look now because of how good Carson Wentz is doing.
Exactly.
He's going to get a lot of look, and with a name like Easton Stick, I mean, come on.
Absolutely. Now, we're going to do a lot of draft talk in the upcoming weeks, folks, but I'm going to throw two names out there for you. And I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at them yet, but these two names could go in the first round of the draft. These two gentlemen, along with Easton Stick from North Dakota State and R.J. Urzendowski, there's a name for you. These two names from South Dakota State could go in the first round. And those two names are Jake Wieneke and Dallas Goedert, wide receiver, tight end, respectively.
I agree with Goddard. I'll have to do more research on the first name you gave.
Jake Wieneke.
What position?
Wide receiver.
Ooh, that's going to be a tough. That's going to be a tough first round spell. He's going to have to do the Senior Bowl and really and kill the combine. Because wide receivers are stacked this year.
I still say Wieneke has a chance to sneak in the first round. Dallas Goedert will be taken in the first round. I have said all year long, and you've heard me say it and write it, and you've seen me write. You've heard me say it and you've seen me write it. The best tight end in college football is Dallas Goedert from South Dakota State. I stand by that statement, and after what I've seen from the kid the past 2 years, I'll stake my reputation on it. Dallas Goedert.
I would say he's the most NFL tight end in all of college football. He's the most NFL-ready tight end.
He's also made some of the most ridiculous one-handed catches I've ever seen.
Because that's what the NFL tight end position is now.
Yes.
It's not your Jay Novacek's line them up, block, Brett Joneses of the world.
See, you just brought two of my favorite old school tight ends in the conversation, and I love you for that. Brent Jones and Jay Novacek. You're right. It's not a line them up and block and catch a pass every so often. It's a tight end now, Rob Gronkowski, thank you for this, that is involved in the offense.
And lining up off the line of scrimmage.
Off the ball, yeah.
Lining up in the slot in a wing position where they can you can't get your hands on them, and they're 5 feet. They're 5 inches above any defensive back. Mm-hmm. So Goddard fits that mold, and I mean, since we're talking tight ends, you got the kid from Wisconsin, Fumagalli.
Oh yeah,
he's the best. He's the tight end. He's the old school.
Yeah.
If you were thinking about the old school tight end, that's your guy. He'll block a guy into next week, and he'll still catch the ball.
Well, those are the two best tight ends that are NFL ready right now.
So it's all going to come down to what system they want to get in. But I think Dallas Goedert will go in the first round.
You want a scary thought before we get out of here? Considering the moves that this team made recently, imagine Dallas Goedert in San Francisco.
Oh. Well, if we're talking NFL, we're talking NFL right now. So I'm thinking that I'm already on record. The 49ers are going 18-0 next year. Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't lose games, apparently. Apparently no one can beat him. 6-0 is
I know there's still a big learning curve for Garoppolo, but from what he's shown me, especially now since he's had a chance to start and not in place of anybody, to say this kid's good would be a gross understatement.
Hey, I've been in Connecticut and haven't gotten to see him play in New England. He's the real deal.
I'll say it again. Imagine if he had a toy like Dallas Goedert to throw to, aside of Garrett Selleck, and aside of Greg Kittle. Imagine Goddard being the third tight end in that offense.
And and Shanahan can get the offense going. So and they have so much cap room.
Yeah.
The 49ers are the team of the offseason right now.
And everybody's going to be keeping an eye on them. Everybody is going to be keeping an eye on them. We'll see what happens, and we'll do some more draft talk in the coming weeks to see who goes where. Chris Dietz at the Fifth Down Football Show, a show that you will hear on Arena Sportsnet, joins me. And I say thank you very much, man. Thank you for your patience. Like I said, my family was sick for a while. I was sick for a while, but you kept hanging with me, and I appreciate that. I can't wait to have you on each week, my friend.
No problem, man. I'll be here. And for your listeners, you can also if you want to catch us live, it's on Blog Talk Radio at KJC Radio.
Right. Yeah.
8 o'clock nights. But like Snowman said, tonight we got the national championship game. But going forward, we're going to be doing NFL draft. So NFL fans, get ready because we're going to break down every single thing. And we've been following all the college players, so it'll be a fun time.
And you can hear the Fifth Down Football Show in replay form Thursday nights on Arena Sportsnet, 9 p.m. Eastern, beginning tomorrow night. You'll hear a replay at 9 p.m. Eastern on Arena Sportsnet and all of its networks. Mr. Dietz, thank you very much, my friend. I look forward to playing your show on my network, looking forward to listening to it and having you on each Wednesday morning.
Excellent. Thank you, man.
That's how we do it here on this Express edition of Snowman in the Morning. I thank you very much for tuning in. Always remember, dream big, do bigger, and don't be afraid to chase your dreams. Chase them, then catch them. I'm getting out of here. I got some things to do. Have a great day. Snowman out.